So we'll get the meeting going. So thanks again for everyone for joining um, this kickoff to the new year. Hope the new year so far is going well with everyone. So our agenda that I had up, let me show it again. Mostly development updates, infrastructure. Tom Lewis is here with us this evening from the county exec's office. My colleague Myron Hill, and then any other topic. So we're going to jump in. I'll go through the development updates, and then I'll stop. And if there are any questions, we'll go Q&A, and then go to Tom, and then a little bit from Myron, and then any other topics for the good of the order. So, all right. So, I think the last time we met, which was late last year, we probably some of these are things that are under construction. So at the metro station, the last L-Core development underway, 300 plus multi-story building, sort of ending the quad of development, sort of the eastern portion of the property. That's shown a little circle of red, showing where the Envoy is located. The green is really sort of future infrastructure that should be happening at this property in the near term. I'll let Tom talk a little bit about that, status of that. So that's the Envoy. Another one that's broke ground in November of last year. Chimes at North Bethesda on Nebel and Old Georgetown Road. You actually have two parcels that's associated with the site and development. Small little piece right by the Harris Theater building at the intersection, and then across the street as well. That's where all of the multifamily will be located. So there's 163 units. Significant amount will be affordable, 50% of AMI at or below 50% of area median income. Montgomery Housing Partners, MHP, is the developer for this property. We have another one on the way, North Bethesda at Silverstone Senior Housing, across the street from Pike and Rose, high-rise 17-story building, variety of all the different components of senior living proposed here. And then one that's not, it actually came in officially today, is 11800 Nebel Street. So back in, I think September, October of 2023, the committee saw this project. It's 154 unit property. It's right sort of behind, it's on Nebel, across the street from Washington Gas, not too far from the Montgomery Housing, the MHP development, sort of behind the Harris Theater building. It's a low-rise office building today. It's being proposed as 100% MPDU property, 154 units coming in under the mixed income housing community plan as a way to be more quicker, faster, getting approvals done in terms of affordable housing in the county. And so that's that development there. This is the site. And this is a screenshot from the presentation that was done in September of 2023 to the committee. So Nebel is seeing a little bit more activity that is seen in many years in terms of either proposals or sort of new development coming in. Moving to Rockville Pike area. This property, this in North Bethesda market, has been around for a very long time. It's been through several ownership changes since the 2010 sector plan. It has received site plan approval in 23. an update to a prior approval. It's at, we haven't yet seen the last stage, is really staging allocation, which is drawing down on the density within phase one of the sector plan staging limits. And we have not seen them yet submit in that paperwork. So once that comes in, we'll know that they're really serious in terms of moving ahead regarding when they plan to move forward towards the additional construction permitting and all that. So yes, I'll stop there about new developments. I'll stop sharing for a moment. Nothing on Whiteford Mall. I know I normally get a question or two on that. Nothing on that. Nothing on any other new petitions besides the one I mentioned this evening on Neville that's been submitted to the department. So if you have a question, please raise your hand or just start speaking. So any questions on development activities?
Nkosi, would you describe the one again that you said was 154 units on Neville that was going to be 100% MPDU? That's not the property that's backing to the railroad tracks.
No, it's not on the railroad tracks. It's on the if you're heading north, it's on the opposite side, correct.
So there's a building in there that does renal work, and then there's also Fisher's Heating and Air Conditioning. So it's taking over one of those properties?
Correct. It's a low scale building. Not the building right at Marinelli, is the one adjacent to it.
That sounds like the heating and air conditioning place. Okay.
I have a quick question, Nkosi.
Hey.
Hey. A quick question. The property that's being developed across the street from Harris Teeter, that's over by the it's sort of like a Gulfy area. Is that included in this latest slide presentation, or is that in addition to the slide presentation?
The one that's being developed is MHP. That's the affordable housing, but 50% of the units being 50% of AMI. Yes, that's included in this slide deck that I just showed. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
All right, hearing no other questions, I will join back in here. Okay, so public projects, the fire station has been out there for a number of years. Budget has gotten bigger. It should get moving to public review hopefully this year. There's been an issue regarding not necessarily the fire station. Well, there are issues with the design of the fire station. I'll put that aside for now, but there was an idea to actually have housing. Those of you who've been on the committee for a number of years know that there's been a notion to actually have some housing associated with the property. That's going to happen. The county has been in sort of conversations with Victory Housing to do some development there. There's some balancing regarding the size, getting more land, getting more access, potential acquisition of another property. So there's more to work through on that. Marinelli Road bikeways been on books for a long time now. Hopefully that will get on the ground this year. And likewise, the bikeway for Old Georgetown Road, sort of fronting Pike and Rose between Town Road and 55, that will be linked towards the infrastructure improvements at the metro station entrance. That's what my understanding is. I'll let Tom sort of highlight if I'm wrong on that. And that's also related to the slip lane project. So ideally, MCDOT would like to have all of those things buttoned up at one time. And then the northern entrance, I'll save that for Tom. So, any questions regarding current capital projects? All right, I'm hearing no questions. So, Tom, I will turn the floor over to you. And I do have a slide here for you that talks about the northern entrance. So you could go at it.
Great. Thanks very much, Nkosi, and thanks for putting that slide up. That's great. So good evening, everybody. I would say the biggest news really, and is right there on the slide that Nkosi has put up there, is that we were successful in getting the basically applied for a $25 million raised grant under the Biden administration infrastructure program, and it actually, the decision was made really just a few days before. It was made in January, basically, maybe a week before the inauguration of the new administration. And of course, and we got 24.8, which was almost the entire amount. We do have the county has in hand part of that requirement for the grant, and what made it very competitive nationally in getting this grant from USDOT was that we did have sufficient funds, state and county, from prior funding, that there is enough to complete the estimated cost. When I say estimated and complete, I mean, it's basically, this was a concept of what the cost would be for a north entrance that WMATA had gotten from their consultants. It had been updated shortly before the raised grant was put in last year, the application. And so the estimate is, this is about how much it would cost, about $35 million, to do the north entrance with sufficient structural support to provide a building built over top of it, which was a key point, I think, both for WMATA and I think for the county vision for this site. As you all know, when you look at the site, that the open tracks there north of the existing station, it really creates almost like a moat separating the WMATA property from all of the development at Pike and Rose, and what may be developed across the street, across Rockville Pike at some point. So getting that north entrance with the possibility of building over top was an important factor from WMATA's perspective in moving forward. And then, of course, another big piece of that, just as a reminder, was the fact that the county had established the MOU with the University of Maryland, College Park, and the University of Maryland, Baltimore, and ultimately also including the University of Maryland Medical System, to establish the Institute for Health Computing there on that site. So, of course, the big news that everyone's hearing about is that that funding was held up by the Trump administration. So it is on hold. Hasn't been canceled. This is it's hard to say what is going to transpire going forward with the current administration, and when. But I will say that the county's federal delegation is very intent on moving those projects forward, and so is paying close attention and is very interested in this project in particular. Senator Van Hollen's office, well, in particular, Senator Van Hollen's office has been in touch with the county, just and interested in moving this forward when we can. Let's see. I would say, just to give you a sense of this, I think part of when will this be built is a question. It has to be, funds have to be committed by, let's see, I guess by 2029, and basically, the project, funded by 2034. So there's a limited amount of time once we get the construction started to use these funds. I think WMATA is on track. As you may recall, last year they issued a request for qualifications for developers for this entire site, the entire 13 acres that you see in the picture, kind of bounded by Rockville Pike, roughly Marinelli on the south, just up from the existing buildings, and then Old Georgetown Road. And then, Nkosi showed in one of his earlier slides the work that's about to be done for infrastructure just to the east side of this parcel, between the Elcor properties and this property. So the plan, WMATA's timing is that they closed the applications last November. They have been in the process of selecting a master developer for the entire site. One of the key parts of that is this piece with the north entrance, and another key part is the existence of the IHC, the Institute for Health Computing, as an anchor for this development. So really, it's hard to know much about the process and how many people applied. WMATA, because of their rules and laws for how they have to keep their everything equal in their purchasing processes, really don't say much. The one thing that I have heard from some of the development community, it seems like there were a substantial number of applications for this project. So we'll see what happens. The decision is supposed to be made in March. So then we'll know who the master developer is, and we'll go from there with that master developer, and WMATA will establish a public input process. They'll get input from, of course, the county, the executive, the county council, planning from the community, from groups like this, and other community groups in the area, as they finalize what the plan will be. The way the RFQ was written, this sort of north west corner of the parcel has to be part of a phase one. So that the plan for that north entrance is a part of that. Happy to answer questions about that if anyone has any. But the other piece of this is a reminder for this group, is that the IHC, the University of Maryland Institute for Health Computing, did open last January on Executive Boulevard, and they are in operation. They had hoped to have about 80 to 100 researchers and staff by the time they reached their 1-year anniversary. I think they are close to that. They had over 50 as recently as, I guess in November, and with contract offers out for additional researchers. So they've had a lot of success with their with publications, some of their research grants. Now, I would just caveat that the recent news from this week with the new administration has put a lot of NIH grants on hold. So that's another issue that's created a lot of uncertainty there. But I know there are elected officials from across the country who are very, very concerned about those NIH grants. So there's a lot of pushback on those. At any rate, the IHC they are operational on Executive Boulevard. Their lease there has the opportunity to cancel with it between 6 and 11 years from when it started, so that they'll have the opportunity to move when a building is completed on this site. And I think those plans clearly will be kind of waiting on the master developer and what their plan is, and whether that Institute for Health Computing building would be over top of the entrance or adjacent to it, but it would be in the plan is that it would be in phase 1. Happy to answer any questions on that federal grant and where that is. I would just and Cozy had referred to this, but the plan for the infrastructure on the east side of the seat of the parcel, the east side of this WMATA parcel. Elcor is going to be the sort of the contractor that's going to manage the paving of those streets and finishing and leveling that site or that side of the site. So they're in discussions with county DOT and WMATA, and so that's I think that's likely to get going as the weather gets warmer, and some of the work kind of wraps up. I think that the plan was that Elcor would begin that work on the infrastructure while they still had equipment on site for the project that they're finishing right now that I can't remember the name, the Envoy. I think while they have their equipment on site, I think it was their plan to try to do this as they wrap that up. So happy to talk more about that. I think I'd have to rely on MCDOT on exactly when their plan is in Cozy on the bike lanes and closing off the little pork chops, the fast turn lanes there at 355 and Old Georgetown Road. So I don't know if we have anybody from MCDOT on, but they might have a better idea of when exactly that's going to get moving. So
Yeah, I've been in communication with Gene, and I've not heard back from Rebecca Park. Rebecca Park is the manager for that project.
Right.
So
yeah, I'm sorry, I just didn't get an update from her before we
yeah,
get to the meeting. So sorry about that.
Yeah, but it seems like there's some I know previously there were coordination issues they had to work out with the state, etc. So and these things do take time.
Yeah.
Any questions for Tom regarding the second metro entrance and the funding that the county received? I see. Okay, I see Suzanne Hudson's first, and then Susan Beckner, and then Abby in that particular order.
Okay. Mine actually is very quick, probably. There's supposed to be a promenade that is in the master plan for the east side of 355, which would include this property. That is still in the plan? It covers the metro part.
It covers the metro?
It includes the metro property.
There's no change yet or further development of that master plan until of the master plan for the site. So I don't think that's changed, you know, at this point, but it will be part of whatever the master developer, what their vision is. I think it'll be subject to discussions of how that will fit in with the rest of the development. And then there'll be discussions from there, I think. But I haven't heard of any change from that.
Okay, the wider part, Tom, is that it is a promenade. It is a larger sidewalk that is supposed to be a part of the whole vision of this redevelopment up and down Rockville Pike.
Yeah, and I know that is the vision, and I haven't heard any change from that. It's part of the master plan for Rockville Pike, as you say. So I haven't heard any change from that, and you know, we'll see what the master developer is looking at on the rest of the site. But I think that for the most part, it's going to, having that entrance is going to, with a building over top of it, is going to have some impact. How that you know, fits with the promenade, I think the vision that WMATA had was for that corner to have like an open area that sort of makes it easier to move north and south, but along Rockville Pike, but also across to Pike and Rose and to the whatever development is going to be directly across the street going forward. So I haven't heard of any changes, Suzanne.
So Kosi, we're going to rely on you to make sure that it happens.
Well, yeah, I mean, not me, but the rest, once in terms of order of magnitude of what's coming. So as Tom mentioned, there will be a decision by WMATA this late winter regarding whoever will be the master developer for the property. And then there will obviously be public engagement along the way in terms of new site plan amendments and things of that sort to come forward. So obviously this committee, other stakeholders will be involved. Obviously the recommendations in 2010 plan. I know members of this committee and other stakeholders will be referring to that document for guidance and to uphold those recommendations. So I think that's to come, right? So once we get more clearance on who the master developer is, and then if WMATA will also have individual developers for each particular sort of sub-phase of the development. That's another decision, a bridge we have to cross when we get there. So yes, there's tons of work on this 14 acres to be done regarding roadways, other pedestrian enhancements, etc., that are called for in a 2010 sector plan.
Park and planning is really the coordinator for the whole length of the promenades because it is different property owners along the pike.
Correct.
And it should look unified. And if I remember, we even talked about it coming down past White Flint Mall site because the stretch above the railroad tracks, the metro tracks, is already a green space further down the pike, south of the mall property.
Yes, some of it is partially in place, like around the NRC. There's some other portions that are sort of partially been implemented over the years because you really can't build on top of the tracks. So this amenity, this public amenity, will be part of a package of future development options that we should see be discussed as any future redevelopment at the metro station. Okay, that's Susan number one, Ms. Beckner number two, in terms of questions.
Suzanne number two. I just want to make sure I understand. WMATA's in charge of this whole project, so they're going to select the developer and oversee the developer and follow up and everything. And what, is there a committee from the county and the planning commission that reports to them, or is it all WMATA project?
Well, it's WMATA's property. actually.
Oh.
And so, yeah, so I mean, the property, the 14 acres belongs to WMATA. And so they are in charge. The MOU that the county signed almost three years ago, I think was an updated MOU last year. But they basically, part of that signing that MOU was to ensure that the county would have input into what the vision was going to be for the property, for the entire property. And so it's something that, WMATA was interested in having the counties buy into this, uh, to how they develop this property. But I mean, as I've said before, part of this, and I didn't mention it tonight, but part of the vision, I think, from the county was that this would be a mixed use, life science oriented development. And so that's kind of sort of the baseline. And I think both, WMATA sort of bought into that vision that the county had, and that was a part of the, sort of the way they framed their vision when they put out the request for qualifications. So
Okay, great, thanks.
you're welcome.
Next person that had a hand up was Abby.
Hi, Tom. Thank you for
Hi,
the
Abby.
presentation. Appreciate
welcome.
it. Just wanted to follow up. I know you just touched on the issue of this being a mixed-use project. I know a long time ago, Pete Fosselman had talked about it possibly being a residential mixed-use project as well. Do you know if that's still part of the discussion that's ongoing, or has it been changed in any way from mixed-use residential to purely commercial and office? Thank you.
Yeah, so I think it's, from the county's perspective, and I think from WMATA's perspective as well, and I'll say why in a minute, or why they've said that. From the county's perspective, I think it was envisioned to be mixed use, maybe commercial closer to the entrance, but some residential on the site. So, and I think part of that is really waiting to see what a master developer has for a vision. But the idea is that it's mixed use, that it will include residential, commercial, et cetera. So, and the from WMATA's perspective, their interest in this is one of the last big parcels that they have on any that they actually own at any of their stations in the network. And so they're from their perspective, what they're looking for is, if it's possible that they get some, income from the properties that are commercial properties that are built there or whatever, that would be nice for them. But one of the big things for them was to get more ridership. And that's a key piece, especially, after the pandemic caused so many disruptions. The idea of having, more people riding and riding from this area, which is such a big open property right now, was part of their motivation. So combination of commercial, including entertainment, residential. I think the fact that Pike and Rose is catty corner across the street is, they want to capitalize on that for both attracting commercial tenants, but also attracting more residential and people who would be using the metro system from that site. So I think it's sort of the way they've been thinking about it. So hopefully that is the way this master developer, whoever they choose, comes in with their plan. Okay. Other questions?
This is Andrew Bossi, Montgomery County DOT. I think you had a comment earlier about, was it the Marinelli bike lanes?
Yes. Oh, thank you, Andrew.
Yeah.
Yes.
The schedule for that, as of about 2 weeks ago, has a start date of Valentine's Day. So February 14th, and it should be a 6-month project wrapping up around August. It does have a note, though, of an asterisk that's pending meeting with SHA. And I've seen the schedule that it has slipped repeatedly, and I have a suspicion that might still be an issue. So at the moment, It's scheduled for Valentine's Day, but I don't know if that meeting from SHA has yet happened. That's not in my notes I have here.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I will say, I think hopefully you can get some good response there. I will say MDOT was very helpful in sort of supporting the RAISE grant application. So that was nice to have their support and their interest in this particular site. So.
Okay, any other questions for Tom? All right, Andrew, thanks for the update. Tom, I wanted to bring up for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. All right, let's try this again. Okay. There you go.
Oh,
yeah. So Tom had talked about the roads and at the metro station. So this is an old image, but sort of still conveys the infrastructure upgrades that are should be happening in the near term, which includes the sort of continuation of this road here in yellow, McGrath Boulevard, some interim activity or whatever may happen in parcel B. And then what we've been talking about this evening is both parcel A, parcel B, and then everything else in this vicinity. So these are the areas that are being built. This is the future development here, etc. So I just wanted to sort of circle the block on that. So
thank you.
yeah. All right. I see no other hands. We'll keep things moving.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, this is a little bit beyond sort of North Bethesda, but it's actually a county-wide initiative here. Just want to highlight it and bring it to your attention. So, as the county council was reviewing the general plan early in the pandemic era, not too long ago, there's a proposal coming out from that to do. It was to really look at providing more housing options within about a quarter mile, half a mile from metro stations in the R90, that's single family detached residential, R90, R60 zones in the county. It was a bill that was proposed by Council Member Jawando and supported by others, including then Council Member Hans Riemer and others. That work got sent to the county, to the planning board, and the planning board, as they were working on wrapping up the general plan, decided to do a new initiative called Attainable Housing, and that got sent up to the council finally last year. There was a series of public listening sessions that Council Member Andrew Freedston led that allowed the public to sort of weigh in and listen in to what the board was offering to the council as a response to that work that was done several years ago. You could imagine, there was a lot of angst and opposition regarding that, but recently, within the last, I think 2 weeks by now, several council members, including Council Member Freedston, Fanny Gonzalez, and a few other council members have produced this new approach called More Housing Now, zoning text amendment to really promote workforce housing along major corridors, and just alerting you as a committee, especially those of you who are within Old Georgetown Road, especially Randolph Road or Rockville Pike. I don't think Mary Ward is on this call, but just want to highlight this initiative if you've not seen it in any online publications or anything else. But it's sort of a multi-tiered effort to promote more housing opportunities from workforce housing, converting office to residential, and then providing more housing ownership opportunities for current and future residents who are interested in buying or purchasing or getting assistance to buy properties within Montgomery County. So if you're interested in this, I'll send out the link to some of the work that's already been done on this effort that was published on the council's website. But in terms of, well, obviously they'll have a life of its own going through. There'll be an advisory role from the planning department in terms of my colleagues that will sort of have comments on the zoning text amendment. And then obviously it will go to the board, and then obviously the board's recommendations on the zoning text amendment will eventually make its way to the council, with obviously council hearings, etc., in terms of normal process that we follow here in Montgomery County. So I think that's it in terms of some of the major topics for this evening. The only other topic, just to segue if there are no other questions on that housing update initiative, is that I will be sort of stepping back from my role working with many of you over since 2007. So it's been a while in terms of sector plan creation and obviously White Flint 2, etc. So my colleague Maren Hill will be taking things over from me. I'll be assisting her ably regarding working with you, providing updates, these periodic updates, new development as they may occur, other things that the department has to do, such as the biannual monitoring report, which another one goes into this year later in August, September. So it's been a wonderful time to actually work with many of you, key community stakeholders such as Peggy Schwartz, Susan Hudson, Abby Milstein, and John King, other folks over the years. So it's been wonderful. So Maren, a few words of introduction. Maren has been with the department for several years. She led the effort to update the Grosvenor-Strathmore portion of the North Bethesda plan. And some of her work has come to fruition with the first two buildings at the Metro Station property. There was an amendment of the North Bethesda plan from several years ago. So she's been familiar with North Bethesda in terms of background. So Maren, I will turn the stage over to you for any comments you may have.
Hi, thanks, Nkosi. I don't have much to say. I've been with the planning department since 2016, and as Nkosi said, I began my work here with the Grosvenor-Strathmore minor master plan amendment, and most recently worked in the Great Seneca area, so the area up by Rockville and Gaithersburg. So either side of 355. And I'm really excited to get to know all of you and to continue to provide these updates, and very grateful that Nkosi has agreed to shepherd me through the process and give me a crash course as well. So I look forward to working with you all.
All right, I see no hands, so that's good. So before or any questions for Maren? None. Teresa Cameron.
Hi, everybody. I'm not on screen because my room seems to be dark, but it's not. I'm the new executive director for the Pike District Partnership, and I look forward to getting to know all of you. I come from a long background of nonprofit management and also community development. So I look forward to meeting all of you and working hand in hand as we move forward in this project. Thanks. And I'll put my email address in the chat.
Thank you, Theresa. You're one step ahead of me. I was about to call upon you. So Pike District Partnership, as you know, is an organization, been around for several years now, coming out from the White Flint Downtown Committee, merging with the Friends of White Flint effort. So two other people I see here on this call. Peggy Schwartz, any updates from you regarding North Bethesda TMD?
No updates, just, hearing from employers that maybe are finally bringing their people back into the workplace and such, and trying to gear up to be ready for that.
Okay, thank you. And Paul Ellis. Paul, any updates from you from the council?
Hi, thanks so much, Nkosi. This is I'm the Deputy Chief of Staff for Council President Kate Stewart. Right now, we're very focused on making sure that residents have all the resources they need, whether they're federal employees or anything. They're engaged in anything related to the federal government. The council is in session. The full council meets tomorrow. I believe we're voting on two bills. One, revising, updating the county's bag fee, attempting to dramatically reduce the number of single-use plastic carry-out bags in the county. And I'm not sure what the other bill is offhand, but we're very focused on making sure that residents have the resources they need right now. That's the main thing going on. So
Paul is a fabulous resource with Councilmember Stewart. So I know if you have any things, you could always reach out to him. He's fabulous to work with. So I don't see any other hands currently. So again, thanks everyone for joining. Tom, many thanks. Oh, Peggy.
I'll just put a plug in. Bike to Work Day is coming again this year, and for the first time in almost forever, it's going to be on a Thursday. So it'll be Thursday, May 15th. It's always traditionally been on Fridays, and there was a Bike to Work Day takes place throughout Maryland, DC, and Virginia. There's, I think, 115 locations throughout the area where people will gather on their way to work, or even if they're not going to work, if they're working remotely, to celebrate biking and encourage more people to check out biking as a commute mode. We'll be back at Pike and Rose for, I think it's about the 5th or 6th time, 6:30 to 8:30 in the morning on Thursday, May 15th. So come join us. We'll be posting. The registration has not opened up yet, but as soon as that opens up, which I believe is early March, we'll post that on our website and get that out to everybody. But it's Thursday this year, which is very different. Some people will probably show up on Friday because that's what they've been doing for 15 years. So anyways, but come join us.
Thank you, Peggy. All right. Well, again, thanks everyone for participating this evening. Marin and myself will be in touch with you down the road. Obviously, the WMATA decision regarding a master developer is something, once that decision is made, you'll be aware of it. And then any other new activity in the area, we'll also share that with you. So again, thanks, and stay well and stay warm. It's snow coming tomorrow. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Nkosi.
Nkosi.
Bye-bye.
thanks.
Thank you.